Hey everybody, so in this video we are going to do soup add-ins, and I'm not making soup, I'm just making prepping food. So like you got a soup and you're like, oh, it's missing something, let's add some bell pepper, some onion, or like, you know, it's like seasoning, but it's not seasonings. So just stuff that you can add to a soup, or even just boil chicken broth and throw something in there to give it some, you know, some mass. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it up, throw it through the food processor. Got the food processor on slice. It's a Cuisinart. Somebody asked one time what kind of food processor I use, so it's not really that important to me, as long as it works. Then what we're going to do is once it goes through the food processor, I've got boiling water. You can probably hear it blowing like a rocket ship in the back. Going to cook it for like 3 minutes, strain it off, run cold water over it, cool it off quickly, and get it in the food processor. So let's go through the vegetables I got. We have a bag of spinach. This we'll freeze dry that, turn that into a powder, just add nutrients to the soup or broth, whatever you want. I got some white mushrooms here, already washed them off. I got white onions. I got red, yellow, and orange bell peppers. I got 2 packs of the green bell peppers. I got 1 bag of baby carrots. We don't eat a lot of carrots, so it's not that we don't dislike them, we just don't eat a lot of carrots. And I got 2 things of celery. So most of this stuff's been washed off already. I got the green plate right here to catch our scraps, because they can go into the compost. And then what we'll do is we'll cut it off, right there. We'll take that part, I'll give it to my wife, she can replant that in the garden. So, because you're supposedly allowed to replant stuff like that in the garden. I'm just going to cut this off. Throw that, pluck all these leaves off. I don't know if celery leaves are edible. They probably are. We've probably been cutting them off and throwing them away for years. Alright. So I'm going to get all this processed, and when I get it on the trays, I will bring you back. Stay with me. And also, I forgot to add that we're going to be, got some store-bought salsa, and we're going to freeze dry the store-bought salsa, because I freeze dried 7-layer dip one time, and it makes a great add-in to, you know, like hamburger dishes or stuff like that. It's definitely a seasoning mix. So we're going to get all this done, and I will bring you back. Alright everybody, everything's been processed, and what we did is we just ran everything through the food processor. I rinsed the food processor out. I didn't wash it every time, because I really don't care about the vegetables. Like, I've got carrots in my celery, and celery in my carrots, and peanut on my, or peanut butter in my chocolate, and chocolate in my peanut butter. You know, it doesn't bother me. The trays look packed, but I'm within the 10 to 12 pound mark. I know I am. These are heavy. These don't weigh hardly anything. We'll just go a quick run through. This right here is the salsa, 2 jars. I got my divider. I got some spinach on there, the onions, the mushrooms. This is all the celery. This is the green and yellow bell peppers. Isn't that like a really cool color? And here's the carrots. So, and then we have obviously the 2 stalks that we can replant and regrow some celery. We have this right here. This is all going to compost. If I wanted to, and there's a reason why I'm not doing it, I could add this to the water and make a vegetable stock. And then we have leftover, bump the camera, sorry, camera bump time. I have leftover, it's on a green plate, so it's leftover carrots and celery, and then leftover mushrooms and onions. What I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to make a soup out of this. Okay, so here it is. The water that we blanched this in, we're just going to jar it up in some quart jars, and bring it over and show it to you. We're just going to jar this up in quart jars and use it as a soup base. So it's vegetable stock. I'll get these in the freeze dryer, and we'll bring you back when this is all said and done. Stay with me. Something I wanted to add is, I know I said this is for soup mix-in, but this could be any meal mix-in you want. If you got hamburger, you know, you got a pound of hamburger, you could add a cup of each of these, or partials, whatever. You know, it doesn't need to be over the extreme. You can use it for whatever you want. These are a lot of the vegetables we eat most of the time, minus the carrots and celery, but they're a good add-in. They don't necessarily need to be for soup. So, alright, stay with me. Alright everybody, the freeze-dried add-ins, whatever you want to call them, are done. Took 50 hours originally for the batch. I added an extra 8 hours for two reasons. One, I added it for work, because I have to work. And the second reason is, every time I do a tomato-based product, it always takes longer to get freeze-dried. So the tomato-based product was the salsa that we did. So, then you've seen the spinach overlapped into the salsa, probably from just it being so light. Everything is super dry. The tomatoes are going to be kind of fun to deal with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I've got mason jars here, and I'm not going to try to fit everything into a mason jar because I don't want a bunch of quart mason jars sitting around. So I'm going to do pints. I got 1 quart. I'll probably put the onions in, because that's probably, well, I'll probably put the bell peppers in it, because that's probably what we use the most. And then I have a small, I think it's a half pint for the spinach, because I don't think it'll take a bunch, plus I'm going to crush it up. I'm not going to throw anything through the blender. Try to keep it the way it is. Actually, I might take the salsa and put it in the blender. So right now I'm going to get all this panned up, or jarred up, and oh yeah, I'm putting 100 O2 absorbers inside the jars, and just suck all the air, keep it all freeze dried, so we can just add it to our food. Alright, I'll get this all jarred up and I'll bring you back when it's done. Okay, so surprisingly, I was able to get most of everything in the jars. I got most of the mushrooms. I got all of the carrots. Of course, I knew I was going to get all of the spinach. I actually got a full tray of celery in a pint jar. I got onions. So I'm going to put this in here real quick. So, what I did was, if you have the wide mouth jars, you can actually smash it down in there with the half pint, and then I just used the bottom of our salt shaker, wiped it off, sanitized it, and smashed it in there. So, it's in there. My wife was telling me when we got done with this, she was excited about this stuff because she likes to use ingredients like this when cooking. Plus, it makes life easy. You know, scoop it out, throw it in, whatever it is you're doing. Doesn't really matter. Let's see, right there. And all these jars are old, or the lids are old lids that we've washed and saved. I'm not going to can with them. So, I'm just going to use them. It'll still suck the air out. And then I have some leftover onions and mushrooms. We're going to be using these for dinner later, so there's no point of vacuum sealing. So I'm not going to have anything left over in a bag. And what I did bring you back for, obviously to show you all the jars, that's the mushrooms, the carrots, onion, spinach, peppers. We'll use that'll be gone within a week, I guarantee it, and celery. So you can add this to soups, you can add it to meals with sauce in it, whatever you need to do. Blend it up, mix it in, add your, you know, make it healthy. You can make it healthy. Blend it up and blend it in with something that your kids like. Put it in pizza sauce, because freeze-dried foods retain 95% of their nutritional value. So there you go. Well, here's the salsa, and I'm just going to powderize it with my hands. this will just go into anything. Mix it with some hamburger. You can use it as your seasoning if you're doing tacos or something like that. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is... Alright, so I'm going to take my canning funnel that I use for everything else and put the salsa in the jar. Okay? So, this salsa smells amazing, by the way. Yep. Alright. So, just dump that in there. Oh, it's not going to fit. Alright. Well, whatever. You can say that for the dinner too. Alright. I put the O2 absorber on the bottom of this because it'll be scooped out. Alright. There you go. 7. And you're again, this isn't something you can do. This is to hopefully give you an idea. You can, we're going to do garlic later. We're going to do tomatoes. We might do cucumbers. You can freeze dry anything you want. Leave it in a jar. Leave it next to where you cook, where you prep. There you go. So just hopefully, just, you know what, let's, down in the comment section, leave me ideas of stuff that you have done this to, or that you want to do if you get or are getting a freeze dryer. So, alright everybody, thanks for watching. I'm going to get these labeled so we don't get confused what they are, and I will catch you guys next time.